Welcome, 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 welcome. It is Thursday, March 27th. It's around 9:50, 9:35 at night. That makes a lot more sense. 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is an interesting day. Yesterday, hey Joe, yesterday, Diamond Comic Distributors was purchased. Today I made my Diamond order for books out in May and June. Some of the books in there for April, honestly. Um, really interesting. Really interesting to go through the Diamond catalog and see how much has changed in the last year. The last 5 years, obviously, a lot has changed. We've talked about this numerous times. But I decided that while doing that, while thinking about that, and it being Thursday, where we try to have a subject, we're going to talk about not the history of something, but the future of what may be with the direct market, the comic book shop, the sales of comic books in general, blah blah blah. I'm not going to reference comic history much. I probably will occasionally be like, oh, just like blah blah blah, and blah, blah. But I'm not going to go into detail. So if you're watching this later and you have time, you can always pause and look stuff up. The distribution wars of the 90s, newsstand distribution, direct market distribution. These are all terms that I'm going to use over and over. Um, Brian Hibbs, we just talked about this, did his 300th Tilting at Windmills. Um, and I think he still used the number 3,000 comic shops in America. Let's use that number. There's 3,000 comic shops in America. The people who purchased Diamond Comic Distributors, Alliance Enterprises, are vinyl distributors. Now, they are not vinyl distributors to mega stores. They are open to everyone, but they mostly do small businesses. I said I know someone who uses them. He gets a bunch of toys, tin toys, and lunchboxes, and things from that. So apparently, and I didn't even read the transcript of the interview, but apparently the people who own Alliance did an interview right after they put the purchase through, which has since been taken down because the purchase has to be approved by bankruptcy court. So they can't be talking about why they did it, but basically they said they did it to widen their distribution market, to get more stores on their thing, and that Diamond had a bunch of really great licenses. They had connections to certain Bondi. They have Diamond Select themselves. They have a whole lot of things that could be used by any kind of distributor to sell stuff. The pull box system would be great for anyone selling upcoming stuff. So they said there's a lot of assets that they use. So a lot of retailers, this is what I saw, retailers flipping out. Chapter 11, Joe. Everything was up for auction, and these people bought everything. The only thing I don't think they're not listed as buying is Diamond UK, which probably bought itself because our Diamond only owned like one share of it. I don't know what'll happen if it bought itself because it's not meant to. It's literally an appendage. So yeah, I don't know. But yes, as I said earlier, if you're watching this, I'm not getting into the history of the direct market. I'm not going to discuss how comic shops got to where comic shops are, how comic shops. We're talking about right now what's happening for comic shops. Now, over the last 2 years, Diamond has lost its dependency. We've lost our dependency on Diamond. Diamond has slowly been pushed aside. We've discussed this again in numerous live streams. Penguin Random House is very powerful. You have Lunar coming out. You have a lot of people using what we've been using since we opened 12 years ago. Macmillan directly, HarperCollins directly, Hachette directly, because you get better discounts. Hachette, I have returnable with Hachette. I can take 20 copies, just like a bookstore. I can take 20 copies of a book, put it out, and then return it if it doesn't sell. I wish I did more of my business on that mindset. Unfortunately, most of the direct market, again, look these terms up. So, what will happen? Nobody knows. This is the most important thing to be said here in this whole thing, is that with the state of American um, economics and you know all those things, uh, we don't know what's going to be for anything. There's specifically already issues with printers in Canada and printers in China that are starting to come to a head. So I can't predict anything that's going to happen based on that. It's too much. So anything can happen right now. But at the end of the day, comic shops, and we've discussed this very recently as well, comic shops don't uh, depend mainly on book sales. We are a bookstore that focuses on comics. We're very different. I have friends who have amazing comic book stores with better selections than I have, honestly, where comics is still only half the store. They still sell other things, cards and posters and a lot of other stuff. The guy who I know who uses Alliance Games, comics is 30% of his store. It's a very large store, though. A lot of comics. I know places that mainly sell comics, but that includes back issues. It includes comic book related paraphernalia that aren't like like supplies and all that. That counts also, and things like that. So those places they're going to have to deal with the adjustments. Like there's going to be changes. Stuff I don't know what's going to happen, but they're going to really mostly, for the most part, be fine. A lot of them that I saw who deal with that kind of thing more heavily, where comics are only like 10% of their store, they're like, oh, good. I hope these people can get toys back in working order from Diamond, so we can get stuff on time and all sorts of stuff that they're excited for that aspect to go. So I think those people are going to do just fine. Other people, I don't know. There's a Pokemon set coming out in about a month, right? August 26th, Scarlet something. There's a new Pokemon set coming out. Distributors have tons. There's no limit. I just got a thing from a distributor. Yep, we got plenty. And there's gonna be a crazy run on them. Brian, the cow with Mooney, said, "Yeah, we're getting 8. I don't remember the number. Don't rely on me. Say, hey, cow with Mooney, you said you were getting 7 boxes, 8 boxes, whatever." He's selling them at cover price, and they'll be gone in a couple weeks. And that'll be that. He'll call back. He'll try and get more. They won't have them. That's what he'll do. That's fine for him. He's not trying to hold on to them and move them. That's an entirely different market. That's a whole other world. Comics, same thing. I had a customer come in today who has not picked up his hold in, I want to say, a month. It might be at exactly a month. It might have been 5 weeks. But he had a lot of stuff. He ordered a lot. He came in and he said, "Oh, can you think you can still get things from Dynamite or from this?" And I said, "Yeah, we can get them." And he ordered a bunch of stuff. A lot of it came in. And then he got his regular hold as well. And he spent over $200. And we were talking about how he spent like hundreds of dollars at Fourth World in Smithtown on back issues. He got like 7 copies of the first Luna Snow in Agents of Chaos. They had a bundle. He saw it behind their counter, and he went, "Hey, how much for the whole bundle?" And he bought a whole bunch of stuff like that. He's not like, we're fine talking about it because that's not my market. I don't deal in that stuff, and the stuff that I do deal in that is not priced for him. He wants huge bargains on super crisp copies. He'll pay more if it's incredibly crisp. We've had tons of books in the consignment, in Miguel's consignment, that he's looked at and been like, "Look, if this was in better shape, I take it for more money than this. But I don't want a mid-range copy," and that's how he is. So we're just in different worlds. But he comes and gets his new books by me. Anything that can be ordered, he gets by me. And he's going to keep doing that. "Oh, I can't get that company anymore. We don't have distribution of them." "Okay, I'll get them somewhere else. But what else, Can you get me this? Can you get me that?" And they'll order it. It's not, the issue is not Diamond going away, Lunar doing this. The issue is going to be, again, here in America, the issue is going to be manyfold. Publishers are going to keep publishing as much as they publish. If it costs 3 times as much to do paper, if a publisher decides to only publish here in America, and if what people predict that the printing presses here won't be able to keep up and stuff's all delayed, whose problem is that? All sorts of things that we don't know about hopefully won't come to pass. God willing, it's in God's hands. Do what you can, but right to representative. I haven't done an email in a while. I probably should. Anyway, the future of comic shops is it's a shift. If you're in a comic shop that's 80% cards right now, it might become 90% or 100% cards. If you're at a shop that's amazing back issues all the time, as well as they have the new stuff and they get some trades, that's probably not going to change. Again, economically it might change, but it's not going to change. That's really where we are. I look at everything that's happening, and it's very, very interesting. Again, we're probably going to delete all the old live streams. Joe, I hope you're still on so that this news can come directly. You're not hearing it later. We're probably going to delete all the old live streams on Facebook. I made a post, but people should go look at them if they want to watch them. No one's gone and looked at one, as far as I know. No one's liked or commented on anything. So I assume no one really cares. We're going to get rid of them. But you can go through those, and you can really see the comic market going through all sorts of contortions and weirdness and craziness, and it kind of comes out the other. Joe's gonna spend his weekend watching old live streams. Joe, you're the only one who's watched all of them. You don't need them. You had the experience, and it's still happening. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The comics market has gone through. Doc, you've been going through. I guess nothing to comment on, huh? Well, go through. I'm saying just throw up those little thumbs. Yes, maybe swallow or I was laughing so hard. At the end of the day, comic shops are not suckling. Yeah, exactly, Doc. He lived the life. They're not suckling at Diamond, and they really haven't been for such a long time. Oh my gosh, you're gonna binge them all when you get the chance. It's called the second before you die. It's all gonna flash before your eyes, Joe. Joseph, how many hours of live stream do you think you have watched? Okay, this live stream is approaching the 1500s. If you count the Instagram ones when we were selling Miguel stuff, that's 1500 easily. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of live streams. And this is what I was thinking as I was doing my diamond order and thinking all this stuff about where diamond's going to be. I haven't been right about 90% of the things, but the things that I was right about kind of work. They kind of the Mighty Marvel Masterworks. Exactly what I said was going to happen. They're going to make them. They're going to create a market for them. Doesn't really know it exists, but it'll sell just enough until there's just too many of them. It becomes too messy and it falls off. And that's literally what happened. They've all been canceled, and Marvel has stopped making the Mighty Marvel Masterworks. I said this 4 years ago. Not because I'm a great prognosticator, but because this is the ebb and flow of the market. It doesn't even really have to be said by a lot of people. I did not predict the DC Compact Comics. Well, those friends, Joe, come on. Huh? Friends? Or this, right? Nice glass of wine, nerd talk. Come on, what's better than me, Joe? Please, Joe, love me, Joe. I love you, Joe. Just kidding. But I am cooler than a lot of the friends you have in town. Let's just be honest. We've seen so much happen. Just this week. They did this Fantastic Four Godzilla thing, which is a one-shot set in a specific time period with a great creative team and has no connection to anything. I definitely mentioned that numerous times. A great idea. And we've talked about this. I've said this recently. They're doing Fantastic Four in order. They're up to issue 6 being solicited of just reprinting the old Kirby Fantastic Fours. $4.99 each. I'm almost positive I'm talking about like 2 years ago. I watched some old live streams for an anniversary episode, and I feel like in one of those earlier episodes, I mentioned that this idea of mine. I said they can even charge $4.99 and people will buy it, and that's what they're doing. Not because I'm a great prognosticator, but because we see the ebb and flow. And right now, the ebb and flow is people will continue with Diamond until it is not worthwhile to be with Diamond, and they will get other things otherwise. That doesn't mean small markets won't disappear. Really tiny, like I just went through Diamond, and there's at least 24 books that I wouldn't know existed if I hadn't gone through the previous catalog. Tony Shenton might have got them. There's a chance I would know about them, but I couldn't be sure because there's another 100, but I didn't even order those. Yep, FS is all the other facsimile comics. Oh yeah, yeah, and I said they would do that also. There's 1 in 25 covers for all of those, and then there's often blank sketch covers. I think who's Dr. Doom? Which issue's Dr. Doom? 6, 7, whatever. I think I got a sketch cover. Yeah, this is all stuff we know how they do. And that's fine. I hope that the Godzilla thing leads them to do other projects intelligently. Like, sometimes they just glom onto something and then do it till death, and it'll be a whole bunch of different decade books. But hopefully they do it like the Godzilla one, with a little bit of forethought. But yeah, I think comic shops in general, when we say comic shops in general, if we talk about the 3,000 independent comic shops out there, again, American economy, I don't know. I have no idea. But with the Diamond stuff, I think 2,500 are still here. Like they're fine. I don't know if we're one of them, but shops are around. The real question will be, in all this economic turmoil, what the cost of printing will be, and specifically what DC and Marvel do. Because Image is always chasing their money. Image is always making sure that they are secure financially before anything else. That has been Image for the last about 8 years. After they boomed and busted with Saga. They were doing great with Saga. They put out tons of books. They did tons of promo for things. And they got a bigger name, but they didn't actually boost their sales to the level they had hoped. They're seeing that the graphic novel sales pay off. That's why everything's getting big hardcovers, stuff like that. They're going to run to the money. That's why they went to Lunar. That's why they're still not an official IPS. IPS gets different level discounts, and they're one of the lower discounts because they're secondary. I think they get them from Lunar. I don't know where they get them. Not as great a discount. Lots of things at Image that are showing that Image is just very trying to be conservative and keep its nest egg good, which is fine. They're a tiny company. So really, they're going to do whatever the market needs them to do. But Marvel and DC can dominate. Marvel and DC can dominate. They can keep their numbers. Comics could end up costing $4.99 at least, maybe $5 or $6.99. And those companies could just keep making the same number they're making now. That would crowd out people spending money on almost any other comic who collect those companies. They would. People would spend money on other comics, but it would be very, very few, and the smaller companies would disappear. But I don't know if that's what's going to happen. It doesn't make financial sense for Marvel to do that. It's really burning money because these things will all completely devalue. But yeah, who knows? That's why I think it would be smart for them if paper becomes very expensive to go all digital and do Shonen Jump style magazines, and you get Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, all the issues that were on the webcomic in a 96-page, 108-page once a month. But what do I know? We just said a lot, didn't we? I said I know a lot. Anyway, that's Thursday Talk. The comic market future. I don't think the comic market is in as much trouble as the whole entire American economy is in a lot of trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of next year there's 500 comic shops because there's just not money. That I believe. But the comic market and Diamond and things like that, yeah, I'm not too worried. Anyway, with that lovely thought, hopefully it is a later Sabbath, so I will try to get in tomorrow. I want to try and look at the new Raina Telgemeier coming out next week and talk about it before the Sabbath. I don't know if I will. Anyway, until tomorrow or Sunday, remember, damn it, babies, you gotta be kind.